Thank you for joining us here today on From the Heart, where we tell stories of life because life is interesting. Today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Ronny Gowdy. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things, the past, the present, and the future. So here we go. Ronny, tell me a little bit about you. Where did you grow up?
I grew up here in New Albany, or downtown Inglemoor, Mississippi. Grew up there my whole life. Went to school at Inglemoor Attendance Center from pre-K through 12, and just done what kids do. Had fun, rode four-wheelers, rode horses, worked on the farm, and tried college, and that didn't work out for me.
Who are your parents?
My mom, her name's Evelyn Gowdy. Some folks may know her. She was a rake straw. My dad, his name's Alan Gowdy. He grew up there in the Inglemoor community. My grandparents moved into the Inglemoor community, I believe, in the late 50s. My grandparents had a slaughterhouse there. A lot of the older community remember the slaughterhouse in the Inglemoor community. And so that's how my family got established in Inglemoor.
You graduated high school, tried college.
Yeah, tried college. My dad had a construction company at the time. 9/11 happened. I graduated in May of 2001. 9/11 happened in September of 2001. I was working for Dad and going to college at the time, and I'll never forget it. It's a day that will live in infamy. I believe FDR is the one that said that, correct? About Pearl
Harbor, yeah.
So I was standing in Bo Robbins' garage of his house whenever it come across the radio. Me and my dad, we were there, or me and one of my dad's workers were there putting in a septic tank. And I was going to college, liberal arts major, didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. And it just, whenever it happened, then getting to see all the video footage and of everything, it tore at me. I felt as though I needed to do something to try to help. I went on, started the second semester, the spring semester, at Northeast in construction engineering, and went religiously till middle of April, and got out of school one day, went to the recruiter's office, and that was that.
What service did you choose?
I went in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So,
what did Mom and Dad think about that?
we had talked about it a little bit whenever I was in high school. I believe I was a junior. I may have been a senior. But we talked about it a little bit. Of course, Mom, I don't think any mom wants their child to do something like that. But Dad, he kind of, I believe Dad understood. Because my dad's a Vietnam veteran, and granted, his situation was a little bit different with the draft, but he went and served his time, did his country proud, and that's something that I'm proud of as far as my heritage.
Thank you, Mr. Gowdy, for your service. Where did you have to go to?
All right, went to boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina, where true Marines are made. So give my San Diego counterparts there a little something to gripe about. But no, I went to boot camp in South Carolina from I left home October the 27th of 2002. Graduated 13 weeks later. It was a long 13 weeks.
Oh, I imagine. And we've got some pictures of graduation practice. Tell us what happened there between the two pictures.
Well, Family Day, which is graduation's always on a Friday or a Thursday, and Family Day is the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we go out, we practice graduation for Family Day, and Family Day at Parris Island, that's the day that we got our Eagle Globe and Anchor. We were out there practicing for the ceremony with the green sweaters on. We called them woolly pulleys. Had that on, and we were out there sweating. went inside to change over into our Alpha uniform for the Eagle Globe and Anchor ceremony. By the time everybody got changed over, it started snowing. We ended up doing the Eagle Globe and Anchor ceremony in the barracks. Parents weren't able to come in and see, obviously, because you got 80-something newly recruited Marines in a one squad bay. Had the rough estimate, I'd call it 2,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Just a hallway with open bay with one hallway and racks down each side.
And that's when the picture with your niece was made.
Yes, that was the picture with my niece was after the Eagle Globe and Anchor ceremony. They let the parents come up, and then that's whenever the picture with my niece was taken. We got to go out and spend family day with our family just there on the island. We weren't allowed to leave the island. It was definitely an awaited reunion. I'll put it that way.
And she's a young lady now. So
this
is when she was a little girl.
She's 22 now. I believe I think she was 4 years old whenever I left for boot camp.
What was her name? What is her name?
Well, we call her Lily Grace. Shed is her name now.
This next picture that we have is with a drill instructor.
Yes, that was my senior drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Ducote, or Ducote, whatever part of the world you're from. Of course, down south, we're going to make it simple. But he was a mentor. He was firm, but he was fair. He was in charge of making sure that not only myself, but all the recruits that were trying to earn the title of United States Marine, he was detrimental in ensuring that we accomplished that. After graduation, every Marine's a rifleman. So every Marine, whether you're an infantry Marine or an administrative Marine or motor T or whatever, every Marine has basic infantry knowledge. If you're not an actual infantry 0311, 0331, or whatever the rest of them are. If you're not an actual infantry MOS, then you go through what's called MCT. That's just a crash course on infantry for non-infantry personnel. That was at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and it was a 21-day course, and then you go from there to your MOS school, which for me, I took a 20-minute cab ride, and I was at my MOS school at Courthouse Bay and Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
And I
was what's called a 1371, which is a combat engineer. That consisted of anything from wood frame construction to demolition to obstacles, center block buildings, minefields, building bridges. We were kind of a jack of all trades, master of none.
Right. So y'all got to blow up things.
Yes,
We've got a picture of a cool crater that y'all made.
Yeah, that was when we was in MOS school. I think the first picture is me and three of the guys carrying a bunch of time fuse that we had cut and prepped, and then got a picture of the blast and then of the crater. Wish I could remember what the charge was that we placed to get that crater.
That's an easy way to dig a foxhole.
It is that.
Your mom got honored at a basketball game.
Yes, and I believe, not 100% sure on the date of that, but I know it was in 2003, and it was at the state basketball championship down in Jackson. She got honored to be a Blue Star mom. Any mother that has a child in the military during time of war is considered a Blue Star mom.
Tell us about the 29 Palm.
29 Palms, better known as 29 Stumps. I was stationed at Camp Pendleton. I was with 7th Engineer Support Battalion, Alpha Company. We went to 29 Palms to what's called a CAX. It's acronym for a military exercise. We was out there for 30 days, and one of the other times that I should have remembered not to volunteer for anything, but I volunteered to stay on an extra 30 days, so which was probably better because I got to do a lot more training that second 30 days than I did with my unit, because it was I was staying back with what's called a MU unit. They were with the 26th MU, I believe. No, the 12th MU. I was hoping to get attached to them by staying out there, but it didn't work like that. Uncle Sam seen different. So.
And then y'all got to build bridges, as you said, and the picture shows different designs. So tell us a little bit how that works.
Yeah, the bridges that we built with my unit, this was back in, the picture you're referring to, we were back at California at 29, or back in Camp Pendleton. We were just doing a field exercise there on Camp Pendleton, and the bridges that we built were called medium girder bridges, MGBs, and they go together like a big Lego set.
Wow.
Pretty much. I mean, you've got pieces that they just literally snap together, and you put a pin in it, and it's very interesting, very heavy and labor intensive, but it's used to span a gap. Not, you see on the commercials all the time of the floating bridges on the river. Now we did have some of our guys that were specialized in that and within our unit, but most of us, we just did the MGB bridge.
What could go across it? Could it heavy?
Oh yes, yeah. Obviously depending on the span.
Right.
And the heavier machinery that you put on it, the smaller the gap. So technically a M1A1 could go across it, but the gap would have to be smaller.
Good way to move troops, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will troop carriers all day long.
Just like in college and school, you make friends, and
Yes.
sometimes they're lifelong.
Oh yeah.
We have a picture of one of yours. Tell us about him.
Jonesy, Shane Jones, that's his name. I always called him Jonesy since the day I met him. Me and him, we first met in engineer school. Then we got stationed in California together with 70th of ESB. I got stationed in Alpha Company. He was in Bravo Company. But, we still seen each other all the time, hung out all the time. And, me and him, we've been through it all. We were thick as thieves whenever I was out there in the fleet at Camp Pendleton, and when we got deployed to Iraq.
He went to Iraq the same time you did?
Yeah, me and him both got deployed together. He got to do a second tour. So I only did the first one, and he got to go back for a second one. But we did a lot of crazy things that we probably could have gotten a lot of trouble for.
Right.
So, but luckily, we all come out unscathed, and
made life interesting.
We did. So.
And where is he now?
He is actually in Alaska, and he started out flying, from the way I understand him, bush planes, and he's kind of graduated. As his hours build up, he's gradually increased. I think he's now flying 2 prop planes. Delivering. Him and his wife just moved to Nome.
All right. So the picture of the newspaper is one of you.
Yes, that was whenever I was deployed to Iraq.
Tell us a little bit about your deployment.
We got deployed to Iraq in March of 2004. Of course, we started out in Kuwait. Was there for a little bit. And a little interesting fact: I have a cousin of mine that's from Union County as well, William Paul Rakestraw. He joined the Marine Corps a year to the date before I did. Never seen him throughout my time in the Marine Corps, and I run into him of all places in Kuwait. When we was over there, we were building fruit stands, and we would take them out and deliver them to the locals, trying to win the hearts and minds. Then in April, they started the push into Fallujah. I think it was Operation Phantom Fury, maybe. The Marines pushed through so fast that there were so many civilians getting put out that we got called back. So after we got called back, we just set up blocking positions around the city of Fallujah. We got tasked with building some sea huts for the infantry guys that, give them somewhere to get in out of the beaming hot sun. Spent most of our time, a lot of the remainder of the time, doing convoy security. Started out with just helping some of the MPs do convoy security. Then we got hooked up with the EOD, explosive ordnance disposal, going out with them doing IEDs on the infantry guys out, pounding the ground. They come across an IED, they'd cordon off the area. We'd go out and provide security for EOD as they would do that, take care of it, dismantle it, bring it in. I was used to going out with 4 or 5 trucks, 4 or 5, 6 trucks, and with troop carriers. So you got a lot of guys, and going out with those guys, you got 3, maybe 4 Humvees with 4 guys apiece in the Humvees. But it was fun.
The next picture that we have is the Secretary of State trip that you made. Tell us about that. And where was it?
Well, whenever after we got back from Iraq, I come back. We got back stateside, and they started talking about going to California, or Bridgeport, California, for cold weather training. I had Marines that come and went through the unit while I was there, and they had talked about the Marine Security Guard program. And actually, my company gunnery sergeant, he was a prior Marine Security Guard detachment commander before he come to our unit. And so I'd sit down and talk to him about it, and he helped me get my paperwork started for that. So started my paperwork. Once I got the paperwork started, of course, I had to apply for a top secret security clearance first, do all that paperwork, and it went through. And so I got attached to headquarters in Support Battalion there with 7th ESB. And while everybody else went to Bridgeport for cold weather training, walk around in snow knee deep. I stayed with them at the marksmanship training unit till July of 2005. Whenever I left Camp Pendleton and left Pendleton, come home, got to stay at home for about a month before I had to report to Quantico to the Marine Security Guard School. Marine Security Guard School it's about 8 weeks of probably some of the most intense mental and physical training I've ever been through.
Wow.
We had 2 books twice as thick as that we went through in 2 weeks time period in 8 weeks time period, on top of all the physical requirements, all the physical fitness part of it. Graduated from that in September, and I got my post assigned, which was going to be Israel. I didn't know whether I was going to Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. At the time, Jerusalem was the consulate, Tel Aviv was the embassy. So I ended up getting stationed at the embassy in Tel Aviv, which was great. It was right across the road from the beach. So, a single 24-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
It was great. While I was there, when Secretary of State, whenever she goes to a foreign country, the Marine Security Guards will assist on the visits. So I got got to assist on a visit that took place in Abu Dhabi, and it was amazing. That's the only word for it. It was amazing to be able to do something like that, and get to meet someone of her stature. I mean, at the time it was Condoleezza Rice. The one in Abu Dhabi, that was the most amazing one.
Wow.
So.
Then the next picture we have is in Nicaragua.
Yes, I did. The tour duty for a Marine Security Guard is 3 years. It used to be a year and a half at each post, but they changed it to a year per post. Ended up with 13 months in Egypt or in Israel, and flew from Israel to I think Newark to Houston, and then Houston to Nicaragua. That was in October of '06, end of September, 1st of October of '07.
Mm-hmm.
And
It was the same duties there?
yes, same duties.
Secretary of State.
Well,
So,
I didn't get wasn't a sec state while I was in Nicaragua. The main duties of the Marine Security Guard is protect the number one, the classified material inside the embassy, and then the personnel.
gotcha.
It sounds kind of morbid, but that's the way they look at it. Is the intelligence is more important than the individual. Hard to kind of explain and wrap your head around it now that I sit back and think about it. But
Right.
We had our mission statement posted up.
And so from Nicaragua, you went to Egypt.
Egypt,
Whereabouts in Egypt?
Cairo, Egypt.
So you did the whole tourist thing through there too?
Not as much as I would like to. I did. I went to the pyramids.
And so you got a rank up. You
Yes.
went from a what to a what?
I started out on the Marine Security Guard program as a E3, a Lance Corporal. In Israel, I got promoted to Corporal, and stayed the rank of Corporal until about the middle ways through my tour in Nicaragua, and got promoted to Sergeant, and remained a Sergeant until I picked up Staff Sergeant whenever I was in my reserve.
Whenever you think back on Iraq and Israel and Egypt, they're all so different.
Yes.
But which one was your most memorable one, favorite kind of thing?
It's going to have to be Israel because, I was close to every one of the guys that I've been stationed with, but Israel, we were such a tight-knit group. We all stay in contact to this day. One of our buddies, he passed away from unseen medical condition, just up out of the blue a couple of years ago. And, it hit us all hard. He's got a son that used to joke with him, his son looked like my son looked like his son. So we used to joke, but he lives in California.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wife's here in Mississippi, but,
Yeah.
Our kids, whenever they were probably 8 months to a year and a half old, you couldn't tell them apart.
Wow.
So, we were close.
Right.
And then all the other guys, we still stay in touch. We get together, try to get together about one time a year to just hang out and reminisce and just be in each other's presence more than anything.
So while you were in Egypt, there was a little bit of home there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, there was a family there. This guy, he works for the embassy. He's an American citizen, and he was retired Air Force. He's actually from, don't really remember his hometown, but it's somewhere around Starkville. He graduated from MSU, went in the Air Force. He was an officer in the Air Force, and ended up retiring from the Air Force. And while he was in Israel, he was stationed in Egypt. While he was there, he met an Egyptian lady, and they ended up getting married. So he still lives there, and him and his wife, as far as I know, I think he still works for the embassy. But every embassy that I went to, there was a family there that pretty much adopted the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And they would come get us from the Marine house, take us anywhere we wanted to go, feed us, buy us, it was seriously like having your mom or dad taking care of you.
Right.
And, it was great to be able to reminisce with him. And there was actually another one of the Marines that come in about halfway through my tour in Egypt, and he actually happened to be from down around South Mississippi also. So we all three joked that it's amazing to be halfway around the world and three folks from Podunk, Mississippi, in the same room.
Right.
So, but it was amazing.
Come home, and then what happened with you?
Come home, and which me and my wife we had been talking, and via social media, and I come back home, and we hit it off, and we ended up getting married in August of 2009, and during this time I got off active duty, and my active duty time run up August 20 of 2008. So at this time I'm on IRR time, inactive ready reserve time. My IRR time's about to run out, and I get a call from prior service recruiter, asked me if I'd be interested in going back in and staying in the reserves. And I talked about it. We didn't have any kids at the time. Me and her talked about it, and she, as usual, she supports me in pretty much whatever I want to do. And so I went back in, unbeknownst, ended up getting promoted to the rank of staff sergeant. So I got my rocker. That was probably, other than I guess my kids and getting married and getting my EGA, that was probably the next biggest milestone in my life.
Right.
Getting that rocker, it just means something.
Tell the audience what you mean by rocker.
It's just the on the physical rank of a staff sergeant, you have 3 stripes up and 1 stripe down. Whenever I say down, it really looks like a rocking chair rocker. That's the reason it gets the nickname of a rocker.
So you get married, and some of your buddies come to your wedding.
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
infamous friend Jones is there.
Yeah, Jones, him and his wife came all the way from, at the time they were in Montana. They come down for me and my wife's wedding. Had another guy that he lives in Arkansas. His name's Bobby Nazowski. We called him Ski. He was one of my corporals whenever I was in California. He came to our wedding. He was a groomsman. Jones was a groomsman. Buddy of mine from Nicaragua, Justin Allensworth, he was a groomsman. And buddy of mine who lives here in the Inglemark community, along with myself, Shane Wise. Whenever I got stationed in California, he was stationed out there. He was in the Marine Corps. And he was stationed out there. He was an instructor at the School of Infantry for the West Coast guys. He took me under his wing whenever I got to the fleet and showed me the ropes. And me and him, we went to the same high school, rode the same roads. He was 4 years ahead of me, but it just amazing how God works and puts you in places where you need to be with people that you know, and it's just amazing.
It is. So tell us your wife's name, and then tell us about your kids.
My wife's name is Jennifer Childers Gowdy. She's the daughter of the late Robert Childers, the Justice Court judge here in Union County forever. Her brother, Chris Childers, is the current Justice Court judge. They're all from the West Union community. As far as I know, that's where she's spent the majority of her life. We have 2 kids, a 7-year-old, his name's Thayer. Youngest just turned 4 years old, his name's Lanson. And they'll drive you crazy. But I guess that's the only thing 2 boys know how to do.
That's it.
Is drive somebody crazy. So bless her heart, she's got to put up with 3 boys, and because I'm pretty sure she'll probably tell you that I'm the biggest baby. And but God love her. Without her, I wouldn't be able to make it on a daily basis. Keeps me sane, I guess. I won't ever tell her that though.
Well, don't let her watch this show. You ran for constable.
Yes. I run for constable. It was a position that come open. And what really got me turned into politics is working at the embassies and, dealing with the diplomats that come in, the Secretary of State, and just other congressional people that come in to the embassies, and just once you got to talking to them, they're normal people. They put their pants on one leg at a time just like anybody else does. And, that really kind of got me interested in politics. And, I come back home. Me and my wife finally moved. When I got back out, we was living in Olive Branch. Finally got back home. And January 2012 is whenever I started working in law enforcement back here around home.
So you started at the sheriff's office or the police department?
Started with the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
That was Jimmy's first term, Sheriff Edwards' first term. So then I was swapped to the city. I was working for the city, and current Judge Garrison, he was the constable on the west side. And he decided that he wasn't going to run. He was running for the other district judge.
Right.
When Judge Rakestraw decided to step down and retire, which left his position vacant. I just felt like it was time for the younger generations to start stepping forward into the local politics. Now the constable, yes, you don't do that much politically and making policy or doing stuff like what the Board of Supervisors does. But, it is our generation that's going to be running the county sooner than later.
Right.
And, I just feel as though it's time for our generation to, instead of stepping back and just being happy with what is or unhappy with what is, to step forward and say, it's time, let me see if I can make a change.
Right. Make a difference.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I decided to run. And, I got very blessed. Again, good Lord blessed me well beyond what I should have been, and got elected the first term and took office in January 2016. I was fortunate enough this past term that I didn't have an opponent. So, again, good Lord bless me well beyond what I need.
Another one of your friends.
Yes, his name's Tommy Anders. He was one of my big buddies whenever I was in Cairo. He was my ride or die guy whenever I was in Cairo. Allensworth, he was my ride or die guy in Nicaragua, and JJ was my ride or die guy in Israel, and Jones was my ride or die guy in California.
Right.
No, Tommy, he was a big, tall drink of water, and probably 6'3", 6'4", and me and him, we had a lot in common. He was a big baseball star at his high school, which I wasn't a star, but I loved to play the game.
Right.
And so they had a softball league there, and we got fortunate enough to get on the softball team, and so it was called the Wild Men.
What else could it be called with a bunch of young Marines?
Exactly. But no, we had a blast doing that. And Tommy, he's originally from Minnesota. A couple of years ago, he had his bachelor party, and I went down. They come down to New Orleans, and I went down there and met up with them and hung out down there for the weekend. And it was, that's the amazing thing about the brotherhood of the Marine Corps. That's the first time I've seen Tommy since I left Egypt, and it's just like we never stopped.
Right.
And there was another guy, JP. He come in. He lives in California. He was in Cairo with us, and JP come in as I was leaving Cairo, so him and Tommy knew each other more. But I mean, I knew him. He was there a couple months before I left, but I mean, it was just like we never stopped. You know, I mean, we cannot talk to each other for 10 years and then see each other and then just pick right back up where we left off. It's just
that's the bond.
That's the brotherhood. Talk crap and poke fun at each other and just be guys.
Right. And that's part of what you're wanting this new project to be with the VFW. You're wanting to get a VFW started here in New Albany or Union County.
Yes, I would like to, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a VFW, just a group of veterans to get together. If nothing else, go hang out in somebody's garage, once a month or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that's it's hard because a lot of the guys that are my age that are OIF veterans. We do have families. We've got the young family, ball games every other night, running here, running there.
Right.
And it's hard for us to be able to do that and get together. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, each war is different. Mm-hmm. I've talked to some Vietnam era guys that said there ain't no way that we'd go fight y'all's war. What y'all are fighting is twice as bad as what we had. Well, I look at it and I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it one bit. But that's what they think. Well, same thing with them in Korea. Korea and World War II. World War II and World War I. It just keeps going back. I mean, I think that's just the way the military is. Regardless what branch you're in or whatever, you need your own era to be able to sit down and talk with.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I love sitting down with my dad and talking. But, he's not going to talk to me and tell me what he'll tell his friend that was through through the same stuff. And that's the reason I think that, or the reason I would like to get something organized for, OIF, OEF veterans, throughout, not only Union County, but Pontotoc County, Tippah County, Benton County, Lee County, Lafayette County.
Right, area.
Yeah, just, something in North Mississippi, that way we can do something. My cousin, her husband, he's been battling PTSD forever. And he's went through Camp Hope in Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. And just got back from that. I think he spent somewhere around 6 months down there. And come back, and now he's, for lack of better words, an instructor. Mm-hmm. And he's their point of contact for our area. And I just hope that if any of our guys are dealing with those demons, that, hey, if you don't know him, get up with me and I can put you in contact with him. And, he's been through it. He knows what, and I think he went through a training course. That way he can help.
So what's your email, Ronnie, that people can get in touch with you?
It's the best one for people to reach me with is @crewpolice, 2 @gmail.com. That's my work email. Fairly easy.
So we wish you luck with that. We definitely want to keep up with you on that. So, let us know if there's any way we can help get the word out to everybody.
Okay. Definitely will.
If you had a piece of advice to give anyone that's military or not, or considering it, what would it be?
It's the best experience that I ever had in my life. You won't regret it. That's all I can say about it. Is, I got to see parts of the world that I'd never get to see otherwise.
Right.
You know, I mean, I got to see states that I would never get to see otherwise. So, I mean, it was by far the best opportunity that I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think every veteran that's been before me, you know, whether they paid the ultimate sacrifice or they didn't, or they was pushing paper in the rear or whatever, I don't care what they done. If they're a veteran, they give me the opportunity to be able to go and do my part. And without them doing their part, I would never have that opportunity.
Thank you for joining us here today on From the Heart. We thank Mr. Ronny for coming on and speaking with us, and we hope you will join us next time.